afternoon. What we're going to talk about today is about leveraging who you are today to maximize your tomorrow. My name is Calvin L. Buzz Jr. My goals for today: share my story to connect with yours. Also, I want you to think differently. And also, I want you to be able to adjust, adapt, and leverage where you are today and who you are today. The goal is to be confident about bringing who you are today into tomorrow. So let me tell you a little bit about me growing up. From a small town in Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, and grew up in a small community where my father was a physician, and there was a lot of pressure on me to become a doctor just like him. I had a passion for healthcare, but growing up, I probably remember the very first question I was ever asked as a kid was not, what's your favorite color, or, it was always, are you going to be a doctor? Never even got a chance to throw in anything else. It was, are you going to be a doctor like your father? And so I took that pressure, and I really strived to do as best I could in school, but then enter my story. My story centers around having ADHD and being diagnosed at an early age and being medicated. ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, which is a neurobehavioral treatable condition in teens, kids, and adults. So think about the symptoms of ADHD, right? Inability to focus, fidgety, hyperactivity, lacking the ability to really concentrate on one thing at a time. So these are things that I struggled with all through lower grade school. Then I started thinking, as I went through grade school, people, being medicated and, being in treatment and, having to leave classroom and take, my afternoon dose of medicine and, maybe being teased and bullied about it. And, having gone through elementary school and now into the middle school ages, this is when I started to notice something different. So think about elementary school and the way it's formatted. You stay in class pretty much all day. You have a single teacher, and that was really hard for me. Then you got to middle school, introducing lockers and the ability to go from classroom to classroom. That gave me kind of a breath of fresh air. Got a chance to kind of break up my day. So I started seeing improvements in my grades a little bit. Then you get to high school. High school, now you got activities like basketball and different clubs. So now I found myself really starting to kind of gain a little momentum. Started challenging my parents to see if I could come off of medication, because I was starting to kind of get into my own rhythm here. Then introduced college. College was chaos, but I loved it, right? Because now you have the ability to add and drop classes, the ability to walk out of class if you want. And I really found myself really getting into a stride of embracing who I was and embracing this young child with ADHD. And still with the pressures of wanting to go to med school, but then realizing that having leaned into my ADHD, I found the ability that I took my hyperactivity and I used it as an advantage to be more active in clubs and organizations and meeting people. I took my inability to focus on one thing and found that if I focused on several different things, that I could balance them and be good at a variety of things. And then that led me to post-college getting into entrepreneurism and developing several different businesses. But the goal of this is to really kind of tell you about where you are and who you are today. You can let a diagnosis and a treatment define you, or you can really learn about it and lean into it and decide how to navigate it and really course correct what you can ultimately be and still achieve your goals. So for me, it was the idea of being told I could not focus on one thing at a time, and I had to really concentrate. But then I said, well, what if I focused on multiple things? What if I were involved in several different ventures and clubs and organizations, and how could that help me balance, giving 20% of my time to different things? And it worked out great for me and became really the symbol of entrepreneurism and success that I strive for now, is that I'm involved in different investments, different businesses, and have the opportunity to really divide and conquer. So I ask you to consistently try to embrace being different. Think about your diagnosis or your treatment, no matter what it is, and think about how to own it, how to lean into it. Look for the positive signs. For me, when I saw that progression from elementary school to middle school and high school, I noticed it myself. I noticed that I was adapting, I was adjusting, I was getting better. And I realized I tied that to the fact that I was not afraid to embrace new challenges and get involved in multiple activities. Now think about being told as a child by your physician that, you have to focus on one thing. For you to succeed, for you to make it in the world, this is what you have to do. You're going to have to try really hard. You're going to try to really concentrate. And all those things are true in many avenues, but for me, it was about adding elements to my activities and things I was doing that kept me engaged, kept me excited, and gave me a lot of promise for my future. And don't be afraid to own it. We hear a lot about people who own their weaknesses and can turn them into strengths. For me, I took ADHD and the hyperactivity part of it, and I really leaned into it, and I own that. And I challenge all of you to think about a weakness you have and how you can flip it into a strength and really own it. Seek and leverage your surroundings. So when I say the benefit of having multiple activities and people, organizations, school systems that can support you, your surroundings are very important, and you can learn how to navigate them and take advantage of all the positive things around you. So I talk about just being you. And one of the things I strive, even one of my vanity license plates is just be you CB. So I really focus on that, just be you Calvin Butts. So I strive to impact you all today with the challenge of just being yourself, owning and leaning into any of your challenges and turning your weaknesses into strengths. Thank you.